Manoim Sheves Achim Gam Yochad Hinei Matoivu Manoim Sheves Achim Gam Yochad. You all know that song? You know it in a quicker tune. But this is a tune that I heard many times from the Rebbe, specifically on Lag Baomer, singing it solo. And although it's from the Tehillim, how great is it and how beautiful is it when brothers and sisters sit together. It's a verse that's connected with the holy day, auspicious day of Lag Baomer that comes up tonight and tomorrow. And the reason is, Lag Baomer is the passing of one of the great 5 students of Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rashbi. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, expounded on this verse in his Kabbalistic teachings, and therefore it's connected to him. But also, today we celebrate the fact that the students of Rabbi Akiva stopped passing away. The rabbis tell us that Rabbi Akiva had 24,000 students, and all of them passed away in a pandemic, in a plague, except his 5 special students, one of them, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And the reason they passed away was because they didn't show love and respect one to another. And therefore, Rabbi Akiva says later, as he said in the end of last week's portion, that loving your fellow as yourself is one of the great things of the Torah. And tonight on Lag Baomer, they ceased from passing away. And therefore, it's a celebration, and it's a time to focus on Hinei Matoiv Umanoim, on celebrating together and uniting together. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was one of the greatest sages. Not only was he the student of Rabbi Akiva, but he was also the teacher of Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, who authored the Mishnah. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai had to hide for 13 years in a cave when he was running away from the Romans who wanted to kill him. And many commentaries, most opinions say that when he was in the cave in those 13 years, he wrote most of the Zohar, most of the Holy Zohar that we studied today, that was later written down by many of his students. And therefore today is the passing of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai tonight, and he asked that instead of it being a sad day, it should be a day of celebration, like a wedding, a day of happiness, a day of joy, because the righteous on the day of their passing is an accumulation of all the good deeds that they've done. And by the Rebbe, Lag Baomer was a very special day, a day full of miracles and promises and blessings, especially for people who were yearning to have children. And the Rebbe they would line up as the Rebbe was going to pray at the graveside of his father-in-law, and the Rebbe would bless them, and many miracles happened on that day on Lag Baomer. So first of all, I want to wish all those who are in need of children and praying for children and hoping to have children, or if they're hoping to find the right basherta to marry so they could have children, that God should bless you in the merit of this auspicious day tonight. That you should be blessed with all you need. And I wanted to tell you a story of love, since today is the power of connection and love and bringing unity to the Jewish people. Shebas Achim Gam Yachad, not just brothers sitting together, but sitting together in unison. And as the Rebbe explains, that it really speaks about also the unity of God and the Jewish people together. And the story is about when we grew up, there was twin brothers in our shul. Their name was the Brickman brothers. And their mother, Dove Brickman, used to say this remarkable story. And it's a story of power and love that really expresses the care of one for another. And she says a story about when it was during World War II, when they were living in Tashkent. And back then, the Russians took anyone they were able to into the army. Even though she had a husband, his name was Isser, even though he didn't have the capability of shooting a gun. And back in the day, if you didn't have a capability of shooting a gun, you got exempt from going to the Russian army. But because it was the war and they needed everyone possible, they said, even if you can't shoot the gun, you could load the artillery into the machine guns or into the missile guns. You're coming. And they drafted him to the war. He had 3 little children and his wife, Doba, who he left living alone in Tashkent to fend for themselves in the middle of a war when it wasn't easy for anyone, how much more so for a Jew, and how much more so without your husband around. And she lived and she tried to fend for her family. And every single day, there was this famous Hasidic man, a holy man, Rabbi Yisrael Nevler. And every day, Rabbi Yisrael Nevler had a hard time walking. And every day he would make the half a mile walk to her house, and he would knock on her door, and she would say yes, and he would say, David, du lebst noch? Are you alive? And she would say, Baruch Hashem melept. Thank God we're alive. And then he would leave and he would go to another house or 2 and do the same thing, or however many houses he did. And she said, after the war, she told her kids and her grandkids, she said, you can't imagine how hard it was during the war to take care of the family and to fend for our family and to have the hope to survive and to thrive. She said, but knowing that this chassid, Rabbi Yisrael Nevler, who had a hard time walking, and it could have taken him an hour and a half to walk that half a mile, he walked every single day and knocked on my door just to make sure I'm alive, even though he couldn't do anything. He didn't bring any food. He didn't bring any bread. He didn't bring any fire any wood for the fire. He just came and knocked on the door. And he said, Daber, lept, are you alive? And all I answered was, Baruch Hashem, lept, thank God I'm alive. That kept me through the war, knowing that this man thought and cared that I should be alive. Imagine the power of Sheves Achim Kam Yachad. If you have a neighbor, a friend, who's in need of a blessing, to have health, to have children, to find their bashert. Imagine if you inquire, if you care, how much it'll help that person. And we always say, Talmud tells us someone who prays for his friend, God answers their prayers first. So in the merit of this auspicious day of Lag Baomer, when we celebrate Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the author of the Zohar, and the seizing of the death of all the students of Rabbi Akiva. May God bless you and your neighbors and your friends and all of us with health, with prosperity, with children. And tomorrow, come join us from 5:30 to 7. We have a big drum circle at Chabad outside in the tent, and there'll be barbecue food free of charge. Whoever's coming, you just have to sign up. We already have many, many people coming to celebrate this unique and holy day. And we'll have a DJ playing live music, and we'll just be together in Hine Matov Umanayim Sheves Achim Gam Yochad. And it's a good day to strengthen our study of the esoteric part of the Torah, which Rabbi Shimon co-authored. And today it's so easy. You go on Chabad.org and you can find anything you want about all these topics and about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So I suggest you Google it, you study a little tonight. Tomorrow, come join us. And of course, don't forget Shabbos. We're back on at 10:30 outside in the tent. Have a great day and a festive Lag Baomer. By the way, in Meron, where last year no one could come, this year there's over 200,000 Jews that made the pilgrimage to the resting place of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Kedai Rabbi Shimon l'smachol b'shas hadchak. May the spirit and the holiness and the greatness of Rabbi Shimon and all his great things be a blessing for all of us. Have a great day.